Hello and good morning. It is Friday the 29th of July. My name is Steve Pugh and every Friday morning I do a bit of a live stream here from the northeast of England, and it's all about business strategy stuff and education and stuff which I genuinely hope will help kind of grow your business or career. And a lot of the stuff that I kind of talk about is stuff that's happened this week, so I always try and keep it super relevant and stuff to you that hopefully it's kind of interesting. I have a business course called the Roadmap MBA and we're now in 33 countries now. We shipped to Indonesia for the first time yesterday, which is super cool. And basically what we are and who we are a UK based startup that's trying to bring free business education to the world. I massively believe in the ability for education to help build communities and improve kind of lives. But one of my personal beliefs is that over time, basically it's exclusive, that especially for business-based education, it can make a massive difference to your career or even the kind of success of your business, in that you're able to make money and feed your family and, compete against your kind of competitors. But often if you don't have a ton of cash, a ton of time, you have a busy life, it's too complicated, there's lots of barriers to entry, that kind of thing. Basically, you can't access it. So one of the things that we do, we have the physical book, which I've just showed you. And then actually one of the things that we're developing is a new website and a new app. And with 86% of the world's population having a smartphone nowadays, what we're trying to essentially do is make business education accessible in a way that's understandable, it's easy, it's relevant, it's simple. You can log on whenever you want and almost learn for 2 minutes or 2 hours. But the whole point, it's a completely different take on business education in that kind of form. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love traditional university-based stuff and a lot of the other kind of courses out there. If you can afford to do them, do it. They're fantastic. Definitely recommend it. But 98% of the world's population can't afford to do that. So that's what we do. And yes, a lot of people don't like to learn via kind of reading alone. So we do podcasts, we do videos, we do live drop-in sessions, we do loads of kind of cool stuff, which is meant to be a little bit different in terms of just what we're looking to do kind of in the world. So it is 9:02 here in the UK. If you drop me a message, it should pop up on the screen. We broadcast on LinkedIn Live, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and lots of kind of others as well. And yeah, hopefully if you join us for the next kind of half an hour, it might be interesting. And what I tend to do is also pick topics which might be interesting for you, but these also get clipped up on go onto YouTube, that basically that allows you to go on and search. And if you just want to look at certain stuff, or if you ever have any questions that you want us to actually kind of cover, tell me, comment in the chat or send me an email, questions@roadmapmba.com, and I'll kind of cover them in future weeks. Other stuff that I also talk about every week is stuff that's actually happened to me, if that makes sense. Because one of the big things that you see often too much online is that people talk about this perfect dream of running the business, and people often always think that everyone else is perfect, and the truth is they're not. So I actually talk about my genuine stuff this week, what I've done, how it's changed, and then also some of the other bigger stuff as well, because often you always see people online that teach you, especially how to grow a business or make more money. It's always about money and the dream and that kind of thing, and often there's a lot more to life about that. So I tend to talk about that kind of stuff as well. So the first one I'm going to cover today is actually how to improve engagement and connection with your audience, either on your website or your socials. So that was a request which came in last week, which I'm going to kind of touch on. I'm going to talk briefly about how your time has value. It's something that we all often kind of get wrong at times. We're actually, as entrepreneurs and people, we just think, oh, I'll just do that for free. Yeah, I'll just go and physically drop that pack off myself, whatever. When actually your time has value, that if it's £5 to send a package to someone that's half an hour away and it'd be an hour round trip, if your time is worth more than £5 an hour, which I guarantee it is, just post it. And it's that kind of thing, which I'm going to talk about as well. Online real estate in terms of URLs and that kind of thing in terms of your online web presence. I'm going to talk about that because I had some updates on that this week. And then likewise, I'm going to do a little segment on cash flow, why it's important, what it is, and just things to consider that you can really tweak and improve. And it will vary based on what your business is and how it works and what you do. But actually, for people that have never been taught business related stuff or actually operated in a senior management type finance related position or MD type position, it might be a relatively new concept. So I'm going to kind of talk about that one as well. Where shall I start? And actually, if you can get involved with the chat, I love it, because otherwise I'm just going to stand here and talk to myself for half an hour. But I genuinely love it when people kind of get involved as well. Okay, I'm going to go for purple. So one of the really big things that most businesses now kind of get is that with the internet, it's really valuable. It's a way to hit thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And actually nowadays your website is arguably more important than your office or your shop front. So you could have a really important department store. I'm going to say, I don't know, Burberry if you're a big kind of fashion brand. Historically, you had a big retail outlet, which was your exhibition store where you sell the dream and sell the brand and show people the clothes and whatever. But often people had to go to London or New York to like experience it. Now you're going to have many more people online who actually, the main way that they discover you is through your social media, through your website. And actually it's such a great, important tool to kind of communicate with people that actually, as much as having an office on Regent Street or a shop on Regent Street or prime real estate, in the busiest footfall in the world, a really good website is really important. So specifically today, I'm going to talk about URLs. So your URL is basically your web address. So I have roadmapmba.com. If you can, get the .com. It's always mega important, and actually that's almost the default for anyone around the world. If you're going to look for Adidas, you're probably going to do adidas.com, burberry.com, apple.com. .com is always the first one that you want. Based here in the UK, we also have .co.uk, so I also have roadmapmba.co.uk. And one of the things that's really happened is that when I was first kind of creating the course, the plan for my business is to try and create a brand which is trusted but has value, that as we grow, that at the moment we have about 1,000 users, but hopefully at some point we'll have 1 million users. But the idea is I'm trying to create something which will gradually increase in time. And one of the things you never want to do is have roadmapmba.com and roadmapmba.co.uk, but you didn't buy the .net. That likewise, when it takes off and things kind of start to move, that someone in a different part of the world or even here buys the roadmapmba.net, almost creates a fake brand of yours, starts trading off what you do in a way that they charge money and scam people, if that makes sense. So with the business, we are an alternative MBA business course. So at the time, about a year ago, I also had Roadmap Alternative MBA, Roadmap Alt MBA, and I had a few. And what was really interesting is that I put a post up last week and it was to do with my streaming setup, and that kind of got really good traction. And I've started to tag more brands in it, and actually someone commented, which is I genuinely really kind of appreciate, but they put it down as what we're trying to do, but it was roadmapmba.org. So I got in touch with them and said, actually it's the .com, could you change it? But it got me thinking when I got home, because I was actually at basketball training, and I thought, well, actually, who does have roadmapmba.org? And the truth is, was nobody. So I then went on last week and bought roadmapmba.org. I've got roadmapmba.net, and also the roadmapmba.com and the roadmapmba.co.uk. But the reason why this is really important is that for your business and whatever you want to do, especially if you're looking to build a brand, really protect your online real estate. It's the fact of if you have a beautiful house that you're really proud of, if there's a chance that someone could build on the plot of land next to it, which ruins your view and kind of puts a big horrible waste dump next to what you've got, you can actually protect what you're trying to build through online presence. And it's so much better to own those assets and have control of them. And I just do a 301 web forwarding to, permanent forward to my main address. But the point is just keep it in mind. I kind of did when I first set up the business, and it was really kind of useful to do. But when someone innocently enough actually put in the wrong address, then it just went blank. I thought, well, I'm going to buy it. And I get mine through 123 Reg, which is relatively cheap. You're looking at 15 quid a year, which, yes, when you're first starting out, there's no point buying 10. But as the business starts to grow and gain traction, definitely if you can get the .com, if you are from Japan or France or somewhere that has a distinct domain. So for instance, you could also get roadmapmba.eu, but for that you also have to be based in the EU, which Britain now isn't. But the point is really tailor it down to what is important to your target market, your target customer, but actually never forget the potential for people to abuse the system, to really kind of ruin what you want to do and what you want to build, because people will do this. And true story, about 10 years ago, I was working for a business And some of the staff that were very, very senior decided to leave that business and set up on their own. And they registered their web address as .co.uk, and they were direct competing, stealing the IP, not being very, nice, very kind of credible. And I realized when we found out what they'd done, so I actually bought their domain name, but .com, just because they hadn't thought to do it. And it was just a principle that I then redirected that back to our website. So if someone's going to try and screw you over, it's a bit of gamesmanship, but people might do it to you. So if you can, protect your assets, protect your URLs, and especially if you're looking to build a brand, just keep it in mind. It's something kind of really important. If you catch this on YouTube, my name's Steve. Can you please kind of like and subscribe? We mostly talk about business and entrepreneurship type stuff. And if you've got any questions, please feel free to get in touch. Okay. So next, what time are we on? We are on 9:11. It's really funny, actually. One of the things that I'm quite conscious of is that, innocently enough, when I do this every week, I try and improve and learn and stuff. And I realized that generally the first 6 minutes of when I do the stream, I wasn't pitching the roadmap, but I was just talking generally about stuff that I've done. But I kind of realized that if you tune in, I don't want you to get bored. So I'm actually trying to increase the pace of some of the stuff I'm doing. It might work, it might not. I'm just trying to get a feel for how do you create the best content you kind of can. But it's just things that go through my mind that when I do this, and I know that kind of people watch it, even if they don't interact, it's something for me that I just want to build and improve on. And then likewise, when we do have our friends from Thailand and Indonesia, China, and the other 30 countries that we're kind of in, often some people watch this to help learn English as well, which is fantastic. So as me as the business owner, and what we're trying to do is to really help grow the business aims. And actually a lot of the stuff that we do on YouTube and social media and streaming, it's really important. It has great value. And something I'm trying to get better at is that when I do review products and I do tech reviews on YouTube, it's trying to play the game to basically share the story about what works for me and the setups and the cameras and the lighting and that kind of thing. Because I think, it will help other people that want to kind of do this themselves. And yes, you don't have to go to this level of depth with the camera slider. So you might notice that the camera moves left to right when I do this kind of shot. That's quite posh, and you don't have to do that, and it's really expensive. But it's just to give you ideas of things that you could do at home and stuff that you do, and actually just, gradually kind of learn and improve. Okay, so next on the topic, I'm going to talk about cash flow. So unless you're from a finance background, or you run your own business and you've got some good experience, or you've been a senior manager in a decent sized business where you're then responsible for the profit and loss of a business and that kind of thing, cash flow is arguably the most important thing that you need to look at. There's a classic cliche, which I kind of hate, which is that cash is king. But there's loads of studies and stuff on actually how, dependent on how you build your business and structure your business and actually structure how you pay people and how you get paid, it can cause loads of headaches. So again, what we're looking to do is just plant that seed, tell you some of the theory behind it to help you understand it. We have a whole module on finance, which is module 16 in the roadmap, which teaches you about profit and loss and balance sheets and lots of different things. But just the basics of cash flow, I thought could be quite interesting for, just a few minutes in kind of what I wanted to do. So what I've chosen to do is talk about a fictional company that makes spaceships. I purposely picked spaceships because they're really expensive and a lot goes into making them and they take a long time, but you can actually apply this to anything. I'll give you a few different examples just in terms of things to consider, but actually for whatever your product or service is, just kind of keep it in mind for what you do. So we set up a spaceship company. We could be, instead of SpaceX, we'll be Space Y. But the point is you have an idea for a business and you're really passionate about it and you want to kind of set up and do that. And you've figured out that you have the best spaceships in the world and you can make your spaceships for $4 million. Sorry, I'll correct. You sell your spaceships for $4 million. You can make this billions, the figure doesn't matter. You sell for 4 and you make them for 3. Which means for any of the maths geniuses out there, you can make a clear £1 million profit on your magical new spaceship that you can kind of make. So on the basics of it, that seems like a great business because actually You buy stuff in for £3 million, you can sell it for £4 million, and you make £1 million net profit. Happy days, that is a great business that you can run to really, you know, if people buy the product and that kind of thing. Now, in the same scenario, imagine you launch the business with £5 million in the bank. One of the things that will happen, and especially as an engineer from an engineering background, this is relevant to a lot of the companies that I kind of work with. If you make a high value product, especially if it takes a long time to get paid, you can actually get into real difficulty in terms of actually how you grow and implement these contracts. So on a basic profit and loss level, where you look at the end of the year, where how much stuff did we sell, what was our gross margin, what was our net profit, and actually how much money did we make at the end of it. A profit and loss will tell you that. What a profit and loss doesn't tell you is the flow of cash through the business. Because the truth is, if you run out of cash as a business at any point, you're kind of dead if you can't pay your suppliers. Yes, you can go to the bank and get finance, but the point is it's something that's really kind of critical to think of. So going back to this, imagine you have your spaceship or satellite or whatever you want to kind of call it. You want to sell that to a big government agency or a really big company. It wouldn't be uncommon that that company says, yes, we want to buy it, but we want to buy it on 90-day payment terms. In oil and gas, which is kind of my background, I've seen 120 from some of the big American firms. A lot of the big UK companies might go 60 days, but for this example, I'm just going to pick 90 days. So what that means is they send you a purchase order, they agree to buy your product, and they agree to buy it at £4 million. And the terms that they agree is that either from, it depends on your milestones of whatever you agree with your contract, but either from the point of they receive the goods, they then have 90 days to then pay you. So they'll pay you 90 days later. The reason why big companies do this, it helps their own kind of cash flow. But then likewise, imagine you are a big supermarket. If you can buy your stock and then actually sell it before you have to pay for it, it's a really clever way to grow your business that actually be very cash positive. The truth is, for a lot of high value products like engineered products or spaceships or subsea energy stuff or whichever, manufacturers, because they have the power, the big oil companies, the big developers, again, want to manage their own cash flow, but because they can control the supply chain, they can often, you know, ask for larger payment terms. So, okay, you want to make your spaceship now, and you go out and you speak to all your local suppliers, and they're like, yes, we can do it for you, and yes, we can hit the target price of £3 million, but we need to be paid after 30 days. 30 days is pretty common, especially for a mid-sized business that's probably anywhere from 0 to, I guess, 40, 50 million pounds kind of revenue. But what then starts to happen is that you sign the contract, you speak to your supplier, they go away and do what they need to do. They deliver the spaceship to you, or the parts of the spaceship, you assemble it. And then 30 days later, you have to pay them. And if you don't pay them, they'll either sue you or they'll stop producing you for when you make your next spaceship. So you really need to kind of keep that working. But what suddenly starts to happen in terms of your spaceship is that on your timeline, so this is time across the bottom, your cash starts at 5 million. After 30 days or so often, you then go -3. So you're at 2 million because you've built your first spaceship. And then happy days, but your cash balance has really dropped from £5 million in the bank to £2 million in the bank. But you kind of know you're going to make a profit on the end, but actually, you know, that's just where you're at the moment. If you only ever sold one rocket, providing your overheads aren't really high, you can actually ride out the storm, wait 90 days, and then get paid. But the issue is, and this is where companies can grow into pain, grow into trouble, is that imagine they sold 2 rockets. So they don't want one, they want 2, and they want the other one straight away. What then starts to happen is that, okay, well, actually, we're going to have 8 million quid come in. Fantastic. Oh, but actually our costs are going to be 6, and they might be staggered. So say the other one comes after you, but actually then it's 6 million. Suddenly what you've then got is, although the profit will be there, you're at -1 million after 60 days. And actually, at that point, when you run out of cash, you can't pay your suppliers, you can't pay your staff, you can't pay your bills, you can't pay your rates. And actually, you're still not going to get paid for another, I guess, another 30, another 60 days. And actually, just cash flow is really important, that when you're looking at a business for whatever it is that you do, a conscious awareness of when you have to pay for the stuff, your raw materials, is really important. That, it's not fixed, but you can negotiate it, but it's something to be cautious of. But as a senior manager or leader in a business, if you're looking to run a firm, one of the big things I always look at when I negotiate oil and gas contracts or any high kind of value contract, it's all about the payment terms. That if this company had $5 billion in the bank, so there was a huge cash buffer, you can often do one-off contracts which are, they will impact your cash flow in the short term, but actually never to the point where it becomes critical and you actually run out of cash. Does that make sense? And it's because of this, there's so many variables in terms of how you need to both have an awareness of a problem, but actually, there's so many different things around it. For instance, if you had a cupcake business and you make any kind of consumer product which people pay cash for straight away. So on your regular high street, almost any of those scenarios. So imagine you're a fashion brand, you have your shop, you buy in all your stock that you want to sell, and you pay them on 30-day payment terms or 60-day payment terms. As soon as that stock arrives, in theory, a customer can come into the shop, pay cash straight away, so you get instant money, and you can actually have 60 days worth of trading and getting money in before you ever have to pay for the goods. And that's part of the reason why big retailers, big companies will do that, is that they can actually help their cash flow, but they can almost have the money to pay for their goods before they need it, if that makes sense. And when you have that kind of scenario, you can grow mega quick. And the idea would be, as long as people want to keep buying the products, that's when you can achieve scalable growth, where your cost of customer acquisition and profit is lower than the cost to actually kind of do it. And you really kind of run with it. In a lot of scenarios though, if you are a fishmonger and you need to buy £1,000 worth of stock, there's always the worry about, will the fish quite literally go off? Will it be out of date before you sell it? And there's a lot of nuance about what you do. And then one of the things that we try and do on the roadmap as well is that business education is traditionally just broadcast. It will tell you the theory and it'll give you lots of clever charts about stuff and what you do and how you should manage kind of cash flow. But the one thing it doesn't do, which is the classic consultancy thing that you always need to consider, is asking the question to really understand the needs of the customer and the needs of the business owner. And then you tailor the approach to that. So what we do on the roadmap is that we tailor the education, and this is in the kind of the broadcast live classroom drop-in sessions, is to actually tailor the information to you to make it relevant. And that's the one thing that I think a lot of people kind of miss. And what I just wanted to kind of explain here was just a conscious awareness on things like payment terms, things like cash flow, that actually you always want as big a buffer as you can get so that you can pay for anything unexpected, or your suppliers or whichever, to really make sure that you can really have a really successful business. So this exact same business that makes the rockets and sells them at a profit could be a fantastic business, but it all just comes down to payment terms and the amount of money that you've got in the bank, which dictates the amount of runway that you kind of get as well. My name's Steve Pugh. If you kind of catch this on YouTube or LinkedIn, please feel free to get in touch. A cheeky like and subscribe is always welcome. And if you have any questions, either to do with your own business or someone else's or whichever, please feel free to get in touch. Okay, I'm just gonna have a very quick sip of coffee. I just want to give a quick shout out to the Freelancer magazine. People, issue 6 is hopefully going to arrive on my doorstep today. I do choose to advertise in it. And again, part of my business and what every business kind of should do is that when you have your target market for who you're looking to speak to, the more you can understand about what the challenges that they face and what they're going through and what they're interested in, that's arguably what you should tailor your stuff towards, if that makes sense. So from a business strategy point of view for my own kind of business, globally, you have hundreds of businesses that do this in universities, but largely the content they teach is actually aimed at large multinationals, big firms, the stock market, people that trade with 70 countries and all of that kind of stuff, leadership, but in terms of, thousands of people. And actually 99% of the UK business population are smaller businesses with, say, less than 5-10 people. And that's a completely different challenge. So again, for me, the business education angle to help teach and help support those people should be completely different because the challenges that you face are different. And likewise, as one, I recognize that you have no time, that, you know, your time and your focus and your money is really constrained. So actually, how do you solve that problem? And that's part of the whole reason why we're kind of doing it. And it was just a case of one thing that I'm very conscious of. We put a post out yesterday, is that with any kind of good marketing, you want to play back core beliefs of your customers to the audience to kind of get engagement and help them think that this company understands me, the brand understands me, and that that's the right thing for me. That one of the things that I've really kind of learned is that although I love all of this and business education stuff and strategy and finance and management and sales, a lot of people don't. So we actually created an advert, which we put out yesterday, which was to do with teaching the parts of business that you hate to allow you to continue to do the bits that you love. Hopefully playing on the fact that a lot of people, especially freelancers, love the creative bit, they love the freedom, they love that part of running their own business. But there's also massive parts of it that they kind of hate. They hate chasing for bills, they hate asking for money, they hate selling. They're never sure if they charge the right amount, and all of that kind of good stuff is really important to kind of get right. So what I try and do is be the friendly face. Yes, I'm from a slightly different background from engineering, but I'm still a small kind of business owner. I really help tailor everything that we do to those kind of people. And it was just, I have a Freelancer magazine mug. I just thought I'd kind of mention it as well. Okay. Okay, that's there. So this time last week, we had someone get in touch live on the stream. And actually what they wanted to ask about was for their website, their social media, etc., how can they actually increase engagement and conversion with their audience? This is something we teach on the roadmap. This is the whole kind of point of what we do, and what we really try and look to do is help bring together things from sales and sales techniques to marketing, to personal branding, to business strategy, and actually mash it all together in a way that I've never really seen done before, but then apply it to real businesses with real people that really help them make that kind of next step forward. And that's what we're kind of looking to do. And so one of the things that I wanted to do is I did a bit of a case study last Friday where I sent it through to the people. Rightly so, they didn't want their kind of website covered, on the screen, which was I was going to do. So I'm just going to talk about things that you should consider for your own business. Doesn't matter what it is; these are applicable to everyone. And what you're going to do, and the whole point of this, is to increase engagement and people's trust with you, but also improve conversion, because the whole point is that you get paid for whatever your product or service is. And there are things that you can do, and you'll be able to see that with my own stuff, and but the point is these are real things that you can implement today, which will genuinely help you bring in kind of more customers, that kind of thing. So the first one is social proof. So something which is mega, mega, mega important. If you don't do anything else that I talk about, but you just want to do one thing, social proof is the one thing to focus on for your business. What we're essentially looking to do here, and this is a human evolution thing, is have people from the wider public say, I like this product, I trust this product, it does what it says. Really good things would also say, actually, it's really good, you should buy it, I love it, etc. And you almost get the affiliation and endorsement from that. Traditionally, back in the day, these would be case studies. So if you have a product and a really big reputable company like Apple, or someone buys it, if someone from Apple would be happy to say, we buy this brand of pens and they're brilliant and we love them, and it's a case study, that builds trust, because what it does, it teaches someone else who discovers you for the first time to then think, well, actually, if they buy it, it can't be too bad. Fantastic. Social proof also works with numbers. So you will see on Fairy Liquid or any washing up liquid kind of advert in the UK, I don't watch much TV now, but what they used to say is our brand is trusted by 5 million parents in the UK. And what they're looking to do there is use social proof, but it's a way to actually say, if 5 million people like this product, they trust it and they buy it, it's safe for you to buy, it will do what it says, because actually if it didn't do any of those things, people wouldn't buy it, if that makes sense. And it's that kind of thing of where social proof is super important. For a website, social media engagement is really important. Trustpilot is something I do quite a lot. So you have lots of different review sites. And what these are is sites that people can go on and leave a review on your business. I have a link to it on my current one, but I have a new website in development. And what we're looking to do is actually have a running scrolling ticker of all of the reviews that people have used the roadmap. And what you're looking to do is that where we're looking to have that on our website is that below the fold, so when you first click on roadmapmba.com, you'll see the main kind of key message and key screen. And what I want the first thing when you scroll down is the Trustpilot reviews. And touch some wood, we're on 42, I think, so far, and 40 of them are 5-star. I have one 4-star review and one 2-star review from a few years ago, but that's okay. But the point is, when people go on, it builds trust. But actually really looking at your social proof, testimonials, that kind of thing, it will genuinely do massive things for your conversion. The next is price. So price is a really funny one, and different businesses will choose different reasonings behind whether they show the price or not. Watch manufacturers such as kind of Rolex, different stores depending on where you go, some stores have the prices on and some don't. Some people do that, especially if it's a consultancy based or product where there's some variation in it. So what some people do is that they want a call to talk to you, qualify you as a buyer, understand your needs, sell you a bit on the dream, then tell you the price, because they're obviously trying to sell you a high product. One of the things that you really want to look at though is that when you're looking at sales for a business, every sales process, basically you're looking to qualify them. So actually, I would love to buy a Ferrari, but I can't really afford one. So it would waste a lot of the salesman's time if I go to the showroom 6 times, go for a test drive, play with it, whatever, and I'm someone that can never afford the kind of product. The reason why I would recommend that actually it's always worth having price on your website is that actually it will help qualify out buyers that just can't afford what you want or what you sell, if that makes sense. There are pros and cons to kind of doing this, but for me it's the trust of actually, my mum always told me that if you can't see the price, it's too expensive. But it's so true that I think you're going to have a barrier that when there's no price, a large proportion of people will never get in touch because they will assume it's expensive when actually your product could be incredibly good value, but they don't know that, if that makes sense. So that's why I personally choose to always include your prices and your price list and your structure on your website, because it also builds trust. As where you probably wouldn't go into a restaurant with no prices because you would worry about going in, sitting down, and then actually then being given the menu. But actually by that point, it's quite difficult to walk out because you'd feel like an idiot, and then you don't want to be stung with a big bill. And that's just my personal view on it, but it's different people have different kind of takes on that kind of thing. Next is why you. So chances are, unless you have a very unique product, there's other people that they can buy from. Really important to sell the USPs about why you, what makes you special, what makes your course special or your experience kind of special. This is, I guess, in the small business, it's about the team. It's that kind of thing of why, if they want to work with you, why are you special? What's your background? So for me with the roadmap, as a management consultant, I work with companies all day, every day to help improve profitability, grow and turn them around and do their marketing. And again, with my own stuff that I am good at it, but you can see the proof in the kind of pudding. If I'd set up the exact same business, but I was fresh out of university, I had no real experience, it's not as strong a sell. And that's why it's really important for whatever you do to really kind of help sell the dream. And it could be that you are just really passionate about your product and you sell that kind of story. But the point is, your sales message and your conversion and engagement will be weaker if you don't include it, if that kind of makes sense. There's also stuff in terms of how you communicate that, and video is a really good way to do that. Because one of the things that you get with video is that you get to see the person that you're talking to. That hopefully helps them come across as a real person. It's not just an AI chatbot based in China or whichever, it's a real kind of business that you can trust. But then you also get a vibe on their body language, the tone of voice, if you like them or not, if you trust them. And you can't really communicate all of that stuff in written words. And there's lots of kind of science behind it, but actually the more you can put video and stuff out there in the world, and this is true on your socials, it'll be true on your live streams, it's true on your website, the more people get a feel for you, that there will be some people that watch the live stream and they hate me, but they at least know I'm going to show up each week and deliver what I say I'm going to deliver. They might not like me, but they might really value the trust and the course, that actually it's good, and therefore they're willing to do it much more so than someone that creates the same product, but there's no social proof, there's no video, there's no people authority kind of behind it. That's a much tougher sell, and that's something that I just wanted to kind of talk about it. Imagery of people is really important. So if you can, for your product, and this is true for almost every single product, maybe some very scientific or techie ones, maybe not, if it's like mega detailed, but actually including pictures of people and people enjoying your product or service will help more people think, you know what, that product looks like it could be for me. I resonate with the people in the audience, those people in the images, they look like me. I think that I should buy this kind of product. A website with none of that is a lot harder to sell. And what we're really trying to do is engage with the audience, that ideally you would show imagery of one or multiple people that look like and feel like and dress like your target audience, that it will help improve engagement and connection compared to a website which is just kind of all kind of text. Relating to that, if you have too much text, people won't read it. Which is cool, and there's nothing wrong with that, but overwhelm is a real thing. So actually, if you have an FAQ section or whichever, rather than just swamp people with tons of stuff, have little drop down boxes, make it super kind of simple. And again, what we're also subliminally doing with that is telling the user that you're easy to do business with, you're simple, you're clear, and all of this is helping to communicate your brand in a way that little tweaks that you can all kind of do. And then last but not least, if you can, and this is the cherry on the cake, this is the best thing you can do, is content. That you could have the best website in the world, you've got loads of social proof, you've got all this kind of really good stuff, but unless you actually create content which people can relate to, or just do it on a regular basis that people will see, it reminds people that you're still here, you're still doing what you do, you get to share your passions, your visions, your values, your mission, everything about you, but find something that you're comfortable to do every week. I'd love to talk, as you can probably guess, but actually I love to talk to people and genuinely pick their brains about what they're up to, how their life's been, and actually learn from their kind of story. And I love, again, it relates to the business, to speak to people in their careers and business owners to really kind of go on that journey with them. So I do that every week or every other week on a podcast, which I then broadcast on lots of different social channels. But it gives me the chance to create content which hopefully has value and people enjoy to either be on or watch, etc. But you know, if I just did the podcast, what that doesn't do, it misses the crucial piece to really help position me as an authority or an expert on a topic that I actually do know what I'm doing to do with business strategy and how you grow business and how you launch. So in addition to the podcast where I like to talk to people, where I try and make it all about the guest and the audience and the community, the Friday morning kind of live stream is actually how to demonstrate knowledge, talk about different kind of topics and that kind of thing, but also give value back to the audience. The reason why it's important to do both is that one is about the audience and your values and getting to know you a little bit on a personal kind of level. And this morning's talk and what I do on YouTube and that kind of thing is to actually help people think, you know what, he kind of does know what he talks about, because it's very easy for someone to record a one-off video which is mega rehearsed and gets edited up to make you look good on one topic. But to actually broadcast live every week on multiple topics is quite difficult to do. But I do it because I'm passionate about it. I love the concept. I love doing all this stuff, and it is what I want to kind of devote my life to. That again, you can't just tell other people what to do and not live out the theory yourself. So there's nothing I cover in the course or, you know, in anything that I kind of do that I don't genuinely live and breathe and do every day for myself and for my clients that I would kind of recommend to you as well. So hopefully this was of interest, and it's kind of a little thing to think about, things to do to improve your business. To the person that asked, hopefully again this kind of covers some of the stuff that we spoke about. And again, if you catch up on YouTube or LinkedIn or any of the others, feel free to kind of like and subscribe to either myself or the Roadmap MBA channel. So we're at Roadmap MBA on almost every platform. And we create content to really help you grow your business or career. That's what it's all kind of about. And again, the community mission for what we're trying to do is to make business education accessible to 5 billion people worldwide. And relating to that, soon you'll have an app which you can download, but actually anyone anywhere in the world can actually get in touch for a free course, and I will post it out to you. And what we're really looking to do is really help empower communities and families just build a better life for yourselves, especially with the cost of living and inflation and stuff going up. And even more so with the amount of people that want to consider starting a business. And again, with the potential for a recession, I would worry and genuinely consider that someone might consider going to a university to do a business course to help them achieve those skills to help them grow a business. But the cost outlay when you've got a lot of other stuff going on might be too big a barrier to kind of jump. But likewise, it might also not be the right thing. So for real world business owners and people in your career, this is kind of what we're all about. So at 9:41, I'm going to call it quits on that one. Thank you for your time if you managed to kind of tune in. My name's Steve Pugh. I do these most weeks. I'm just going to kind of manage it over the summer. If you have any questions, anything at all, please don't hesitate to get in touch. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will speak to you soon. All right, cheers guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.